Are you a visionary mid-aged woman that your power rising and you don't know how to somehow embody more of that power, being so used to a different scenario? Have you ever felt that humbleness is your weakness, and with rise of that power, you get to claim more of that of your authority and influence by controlling others, by controlling your circumstances, uh, and having that illusion that will give you that control and authority, and that's what's the power about. And I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. I've been there as well, and that what happened, there were some humbling experience, very humbling, that were putting to my knees, that somehow woke me up to a potential that actually being humble is a greatest strength. And let me share about how I went about it from a personal perspective, and how that actually relates to a very generational pattern that I started discovering even on the deeper levels, that we living in that subconscious world, where we keep repeating those patterns generations after generations. And I was in along with that, a lot of us living in that subconscious and don't even know that they do it. Like I had mentioned, it took me like very humbling experience to face myself finally, and recognizing what is really mean to be humble, and how much power and strength is in that, true power and strength in that, and how much influence that can create. So I grew up in an environment where my mom was more submissive, and I was living her generational pattern of husband had to be an authority, head of the house, and controlling, and she doesn't have a choice but be submissive. And that's how she was treating her humbleness, that based on those generational patterns. Somehow, when I started reflecting, it started even sooner. It started with my grandmother, her mother, who was controlling because of her kind of reasons of continual generational patterns, most likely not being heard, because she was brought up with the multi-child family. Her husband was also she was in that generation that husband was the head of household, and it didn't have to be right to be head of household, and it requires some respect, either he was right or not, or possibly controlling. I don't believe my grandfather was very controlling, and I think my grandma took upon herself that she kind of also bringing bunch of children and living through that generational patterns of the submissive mother were too overwhelming for her, and she became that more of that controlling, and that's how my mother was brought up. So she didn't even possibly recognize when she attracted a controlling husband, and it seems like was the right environment, that she was just continuing with the environment that she experienced growing up. And I grew up in that kind of environment, and it was also culturally to respect your elders, to respect your parents, and because they had authority. And yes, it's a good thing to have respect for others. However, that respect cannot be attempted to be gained by authority of controlling other people, because it shows a wrong example and show the wrong modeling for your kids and for your families and for your environments. And you see how much, like, and a lot of people start waking up to those generational patterns, cultural patterns, that it has to, that were solved, that it was out of that respect, that you get to be more of the submissive, and that's how humbleness was interpreted as a big weakness, especially for women, that they have to be humble for their husband, to do what the husband does, to be humble for the parents, and be following what their parents asking them to do. Many times they were coming from that authoritarian, uncontrolling nature that was doing more harm than good, and created even deeper disconnect in those families. So how I kind of growing up, and at some point it took me years, and getting to my 40s, to somehow, with, like I had mentioned, that humbling, and to my niece experience, that brought that freedom and breakthrough, to recognizing that the humbleness is actually a greatest strength and not the weakness. And what the situation was about, I was living, and to a certain degree I was aware that I was living those generational patterns of authority and control, because observing what was happening in growing up, I didn't want to be the submissive one. I thought, I want to have my power, I want to use my voice. So the only way to go about it was to become more of controlling and authoritarian one. And I was practicing that in growing up, to a certain degree, that had like a really crazy motive of being kind of less picked by my father, who was controlling. And when I saw that he was controlling and authoritarian to my mom, my fear was that he will start doing that to me. And he, as a parent and as a man, will have authority over me, and I didn't feel that it's the right thing for me. So my humbleness came to become submissive, in a sense of becoming a controlling one, an authority, when my father will accept me, because it will be familiar to him, and he won't be picking on me. So this is like, when I even share about it, it seems like a really messed up situation. However, in a young mind of creating safety and protections, and for us women it's very important, it was the way to cope, to survive that situation. And like I had mentioned, it took years to untangle all that was happening, and living from that subconscious, and dealing with it on a daily basis, and having the idea that that I don't even want to be in that space anymore, and didn't know how to break from that space until that humbling moment, when my actually teenage daughter decided that the only way to cut those generational cycles of survival is to cut ties. And when it happened, it brought a lot of this ease to me, and like anger, how this child can do something to me. It was in that process of breaking through those cycles, and I didn't have the understanding what was happening, because I was in the middle of that, and not accepting the situation and trying to fight, until I started actually recognizing that the fighting anymore by controlling, by authority, is not the way to bring back peace, to bring back peace to myself, and bring back peace to my family, and having a possibility that my child eventually will come back and we can reconnect. So it was a very humbling moment, and forgiving moment to myself. That was the best thing that I could do, because it was easier eventually to forgive my child because of a love that I have for her. It was harder to somehow forgive myself, and that was another humbling moment, to have that courage to forgive myself for what was happening when I started waking up and recognizing how much it cost, what price I was paying by that attempting to be in that control and authority, and how much I was breaking myself, how much I was creating chaos, how much I was damaging my relations with my husband, with my family, with my daughter. So recognizing that and humbling to be in that forgiving and graceful space, to recognize that yes, what happened, I cannot change that, but I can choose to move forward and create a better experience for myself and better experience for others. And that's what happened. And it's still an ongoing journey when you ingrain for so many years, and especially the ingrained process, not because of the generational cycles it was so strong, but also having an opportunity to practice that, because feeling that that's the only way to have authority, to be in controlling. It takes time to untangle all of that, and I'm happy to say that I made significant progress, and I'm still human, and some of those patterns might be lingering somewhere, and even showing up in my daily interactions with my family, with my friends, or with clients. And what is different for sure, practicing more of that humbling and that mental shift, and breaking through those generational cycles, keep putting more trust and hope, and help me to redirect myself more from that, to recognize quicker that's kind of the happening, that I'm going to that default that I'm so used to, and turning around quicker, like, okay, let's turn back and reconnect with me, reconnect with God, and reconnect with other family members, with friends, with clients. And so those practices became like really a second nature, and helped me recognize and keep waking me up to the potential that humility is my strength and not my weakness, and it's not a submission. Even if I'm dealing with other authoritarian people, it also created a different experience for my family. But like I had mentioned, it's still ongoing journey. I experienced some beautiful experience and much deeper connections with my loved ones, even with my family members. So it can ripple, and that's kind of where we can create a deeper difference for ourselves and others, by braving up, and by cutting those generational cycles, or breaking through those generational cycles, and how to go about it. I share some from my experience that may be resonating, and you might be in a space that you didn't recognize that experience was that opportunity for you to break those cycles. You feel self-righteous, and want to continue that controlling and authority, and not recognizing that humility and humbling yourself is required to create more of that strength, and make more difference for yourself and for others in your family. So So that's something that you get to be really honest with yourself, and not afraid to face yourself, and not hiding behind that authoritarian nature. That's the only way, and controlling, that's the only safe place for you, because it's safer is to actually be more humble. It's more that you can experience more of that peace inside when you're coming from that place, and keep redirecting your thoughts that you feel if you in that space, you will show your weakness. It might be showing up, and somehow redirecting those thoughts, that humbling is not a weakness, but it is a strength. And it's something that you're not doing only for yourself, but only to show that it's possible for others. And that's the benefits of it, like I had mentioned, that I experience, are like recreating your relation with yourself, recreating and reconnecting, and creating even deeper connections with your family members, with your friends, with clients, with others that you come across. It will be easier to even deal with those controlling people when you recognize and you have more compassion for them, that they still working through their generational patterns and attempting to break through, and just by being deciding to be true to you, you can actually help them to break those patterns. They start recognizing, because you start modeling with who you are, being authentic self and not authoritarian self, that it's possible to be humble human being. And they start recognizing that's possible for others. Like we were learning from generations and past the cultural generational cycles of survival, and we also get to start recognizing that we start building that generational cycle of thriving, and passing that from generation to generation, and waking up more towards that potential, that it's time to really stand more in our true power, and using our voice to make a difference for ourselves and for others, and breaking through that survival. And especially for our visionary leaders, women mid-age, that have that opportunity, that the power is rising, and you might not be like sure what to do about it, and you don't feel comfortable in being humble, because you've been trained and taught and practiced for so long that humbleness will not get you too far. And only control and environment and authority, being authoritarian, because actually with the humbleness you can actually gain even more authority through being a humble human being, a real authority, a real influence, and not just the one, the illusion of that, because eventually it's like a house of cards that will be falling apart. That may be some situation, unexpected situation, that will put you to your knees. Maybe you already experienced those, and somehow you dusted your knees and stood up and continue with that pattern. And even though you don't feel comfortable, continue, and you don't know what to do about it. So I would love to show you how, and would love to invite you to become a part of the community, where we can build more of that immunity to those generational cycles, to be in an environment of like-minded, light-hearted, visionary women, where we co-create together, where we building our legacy, where we making difference for ourselves and making a difference for others. and can somehow build our humility strength, and not just building alone and feeling that's the only way to go about it. It's so in that word showing that the women feel that the only way to build influence and authority, to be on their own, to build their own brand, and not to co-create with other women, because they will lose that authority. They will lose the sense of themselves. And this is the next level, to recognizing that you actually can create even more influence and difference for others when you start co-creating with other visionary and heart-centered leaders in communities, conscious communities, together. That goes beyond your communities, because you might be building some of that in your own community, and like when you facilitating, you also get to recognize that you keep evolving, and you get to keep coming to your next levels of evolution, and you get to keep tuning to that evolution and create that expansion for yourself, to be of better service to others in your communities, to become a better human being in your family, and better mother, better woman, better wife, spouse, significant other, that you keep living the example of being a humble human being, and dropping that authoritarian and controlling nature. It will get you really, really much further. And will make a difference for you, and making a difference for yourself. And that's what will show that you actually are standing in your true power, and using your voice, and you living your legacy, and not just attempting to leave one behind. And other people start noticing, and they want to join you, and they will feel inspired and empowered by your example of how you became, and they want to also make those shifts and see that as opportunity and possibility in their own life. And they might join you. Some might join you. They want to co-create together with you. Some might be wanted to continue on their own journey, and finding some other communities that are in more alignment for them, and feeling more at home. So if you feel that the community that I'm describing, how I want to co-create together, and why I want to co-create together, to bring you to more of that expansion and presence, so you can be of making that difference for your bigger difference for yourself, and through difference, and bigger and truer difference for others. Please reach out. You can put in the comments connect. You can go to my website. There are links to connect with me and schedule some time together, and we can explore if that's the way for us to co-create, and see how we can expand our presence together, and making a real difference for ourselves, and also difference in our communities, our families, and rippling that to the world, to transform our world, to step to more of that, building that generational cycle of thriving, and dropping more of dropping that survival that we experience for way too long, and that keeping us in stuck, and in the place that we can just go so far. We get to expand further. We get to expand further, and humility will get us further. and co-creation with other visionary women, like-minded and open-hearted, can also help facilitate that transformation and expansion in your own life. So without further ado, sending so much love, joy, peace, light, and compassion, and see you around. Feel free to hit the bell button to see where I'm coming live next, and to see where the fresh content is available. For the replays, I'm inviting you to share if it feels that it might resonate with somebody else. Also, please subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers are showing up, the more visible the content becomes as well. That's what I keep hearing. So again, take good care of you, and consider creating humility as your biggest strength, and to make a difference for you and make a real difference for others and in this world. So take care.